Morning, everybody. Welcome here this morning at this webinar that's going to be dealing with how to tender successfully and apply for funding. I believe this will be a very informative webinar for everyone who is tuned in today. So welcome to you guys who's tuned in, and then also we're looking forward to sharing some valuable information and knowledge with you guys this morning regarding tendering successfully and applying for funding. So we did receive quite a lot of subscriptions for this webinar. So I see we've got an attendance list of 100 people. That's good. There's been over 1,200 subscriptions for this webinar, which means that it's a very popular topic and it will bring a lot of value to you guys who's tuned in today for this webinar. So we are glad that you have joined us today. I hope you enjoy this, and let's make the best of this. I will be your host. My name is Brent Badenhorst. I'm the exclusive client manager at Company Partners, and I've been dealing with startup businesses and assisting people to tender successfully and to apply for funding for 3 years. That's been over 1,000 companies since 2013. I'm just going to quickly, we've got a technical error here with the slides, so that is my profile there. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so the structure of today's webinar will be as follows. The purpose of this webinar is to give you access to information and opportunities regarding how to register, empower, and grow your business in South Africa for tenders and funding. That will be the purpose of this webinar, and I believe the information will be very valuable if you are tuned in and if you are serious about tendering this morning. So the webinar will consist of 3 parts. Part 1 will be a conduction of short interviews with specialists in every industry that we will be dealing with today. So how to register and set up your company for tenders and funding will be the first topic we will be discussing this morning. The second topic will be how to stay updated about the available tenders in the market, and then also how to tender successfully, and lastly, how to apply for funding after you entered successfully. So those are the topics that will be discussed this morning. Part 2 will be a special offer that Company Partners has put together for everybody tuned in today's webinar. We will discuss more information regarding that in part 2. And last but not least, we've got the questions and answers section in part 3. That will be dealing with any specific questions that you have that will not be answered during this webinar. So I do ask that you keep your questions for that section, that we will answer all your questions that you have regarding any tenders and funding issues in the business. Great stuff. So my question to you this morning is, are you an entrepreneur or not? The best way to create the future, the best way to create the future is to take action and go for it today. That is the best way to create the future. I do want to encourage you guys that there's uncertain times in South Africa as well as uncertain times in the world, and it's up to you to create the future. Nobody's going to do anything for you, and I say this respectfully, but there's nobody out there that's planning anything for you. You need to use what you have today and take action to change your future. Otherwise, nothing will change. Nothing will just happen and fall out of the sky. We need to take action in our lives. We have to use our talents and abilities that has been given to us, and we need to use this to create the future for ourselves. So we're gonna start with the process of the register part, which is to set up a company for tenders and funding. So when we look at the process of tendering, staying updated with tendering successfully and funding, you first of all need to have the right compliance in place. This is the basic foundation to get started. So if you already have this company in place, that is fine. But for those out there who does not have company in place, we're going to be dealing first of all with how do you register and set up a company for tenders and funding. So you can go on to the next slide. So our first specialist this morning, I would like to welcome Ilana Steyn.
Morning, Ben.
Morning, Ilana. How are you
Morning,
this
everyone.
morning?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Can you quickly introduce yourself to the viewers out there?
Okay. I'm Ilana Steyn. I'm the Managing Director of Company Partners, and I'm a legal secretary and have been in the company secretarial industry for about 16 years, yes, sometime.
Fantastic, yeah. So you have a lot of experience coming into this industry.
Yeah, we've seen the developments through CIPC, the changes over the years from having to complete documentation in yellow paper and duplicates to online streamlined processes at CIPC. So we are very excited to be part of that process.
Fantastic, fantastic. So quickly, let's go through your section of expertise. The starting point before you can apply for tenders and funds, as I said earlier, will be the company registration process at CIPC.
That's right, yes.
Please provide us with more information regarding this, as well as, secondly, the requirements to register a company, and lastly, the process of the company registration at CIPC.
Okay, perfect. So we'll start with the first section, that would be basically the requirements for the company. So as you all know that when you do register a company, there will be certain requirements for you in order to set that up. So if you take a look at the slide, you will see that you will need an ID document. Obviously, that needs to be a valid ID document, usually your green barcoded ID, or actually CIPC does accept the new card format. When you do use the card format, you have to have that copied on both sides. So we need both sides of that being certified by a commissioner of oath. Then the next document that the next thing that you need to keep in mind is the directors of the company need to be 18 years or older. So that's very important information on that as well. And then you need a South African address for the business as well as for the directors. So there is some requirements that CIPC will have exemptions on those, but the business address itself needs to be South African. Then we go over to the next section, so that would be the steps. So firstly, what will happen is that we need to reserve that company name for you with CIPC to ensure that you've got the right business name and that it has been approved in order for you to register the business. We go through that process on behalf of the clients just to streamline it and also give them some hints and tips as to what is important and how they can streamline the process of getting the name reserved from the start and actually the name that they would like it to be. Then second step would be the actual completion of the company documentation. So we'll have a little template that we'll ask the clients to complete and send back to us so that we can then prepare the documentation. And then the third step would be the actual submission to CIPC that we will then streamline that process for them as well.
Fantastic. That's quite a process you have there to register a company successfully at CIPC.
That's right. So being part of this process for over a few years, we realized how to do it as quick and as efficient as possible.
Fantastic. Quickly, just on the basic, give me or actually the viewers out there, a quick idea, what is the difference between a shareholder and a director of a company?
Okay, so to easily sum that up, a director will attend to the day-to-day running of the company, and the shareholder will be the owner of the company. So a lot of times, if it's a small business, the shareholder will actually also be the director on the company. But especially if you look at things like opening a bank account, the banks actually look at your credit record as well. So if you are blacklisted, that might have an influence on that. Then we will suggest to have that person as a shareholder rather than a director, and then just appoint the directors accordingly.
Fantastic, because when you do register a company at CIPC, that company only lists on the 14.3 the directors and not the shareholders.
That's correct, yes.
Can you elaborate on that? Why do you need a share certificate when you register a new company?
Okay, so specifically, if you take a look at the slides again, the share register and the process of the share certificate is quite important because that shows the ownership of the company. So specifically, if you need to open a bank account, you would require it for that purpose. So the bank will have to see who is the shareholders in the company. Then the second section would be the share management itself, where there's the history of company. So especially if you maybe want to sell the company and you need to show that this was the first shareholder, the shares were transferred thereafter, then you need that relevant proof and documentation of that process. And then the last one would be the proof of legal ownership. If you have to go to court and you need to show, but you are the shareholder of the company, you have to present something. So that would be the purpose of the share certificate.
Good stuff, yeah. So, okay, no, great stuff. That makes a lot of sense. Is a share certificate an internal process or process through CIPC?
So once again, with CIPC, they only indicate the directors on the company documentation. So the share certificates and the issue thereof is an internal process, and we usually attend to that on behalf of the client.
Okay, great stuff. So there's been a lot of talk lately about the BEE section in private companies. What are the new changes in the BEE Act that you are aware of?
Okay, so yes, there's been big changes within this industry, and especially with the BEE certificates that are now called BEE affidavits. They still work with the different levels, but it's basically a verification of your status within the company in terms of shareholding. So they're specifically looking at the amount of black shareholders within the company itself, indicating the level. We then basically assist the clients through that process where we help them with the completion of the affidavit that is available specifically for tender purposes. This is quite an important part. So you will see during the course of this webinar that we are attending today, it comes up. So the BEE is specifically there for the black ownership, but also a very integrated part of this whole tender process.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing on that. So far we've dealt with a lot of necessities when it comes to tendering. SARS as well is very important for tender purposes and funding purposes. So basically the question would be, when I register a company at CIPC, will I receive an income tax number at SARS as well?
Okay, so what will happen is that through the registration of a company with CIPC, the whole process of allocating the tax number happens automatically. So once your company is registered, CIPC then communicates with SARS. You will then receive an automatic tax number. On that, you need to verify that tax number within a certain time frame period. So you're looking at about 28 days that you have to verify that process with SARS to actually use that number. Otherwise, you have to go through a manual application at SARS. We usually deal with that on behalf of the clients just to streamline that process and to get that up and running as quick as possible. And then once again, because you are using this for your tenders and funding processes, it is important to have all these processing in place and make sure that you've got the necessary verification on that.
Yes, fantastic. I just quickly want to check it. It looks like it signed out automatically, so I apologize for that. I just quickly want to make sure you have access to that tender slide, so I'm uploading it now again. There we go. Cool.
Back online again. Perfect.
Back online. So yeah, there is going to be every now and then maybe a cutout or so due to the internet connection. So if that happens, I apologize. We will then just quickly recap the last two sentences or so and then just upload the slides again.
Perfect.
Okay, so the next question then would be a tax clearance certificate, which is one of the most important documents that you need when you are looking to tendering. So basically, can you provide us with more information regarding a tax clearance certificate? Okay,
so if you are looking at the tax clearance certificate, you don't actually need to have traded before to apply for this tax clearance certificate. The whole purpose of your tax clearance certificate is basically just to indicate that your tax is up to date. So even if you haven't traded, you can still apply for that. We then help you through that process. It's just to show that you are in the clear with SARS in terms of your tax. And then the other document is because, or the other reason for that being is that part of this process when you start your funding or your tendering process is that they want to see that you are up to date with your taxes. So you will require that document for that purpose as well.
Okay, fantastic. I know also that the tax clearance certificate is quite important when you're looking to sign contracts with other companies and other businesses as well.
Exactly. So that's also why a lot of people will come to us and ask us for the assistance with it, especially if they've started new businesses, because there is a perception out there that you had to trade for a while, but that's why we help do that registration.
Yes, I understand. So basically, all these services that you just mentioned now, Ilana, is available for the public out there. You guys are welcome to go directly to the Institute to get these compliance in place. However, we can assist you as well for those who are looking to receive some assistance with these compliance documents. I will give you more information at the end of this webinar with a special offer included on how we can assist you with this process.
Perfect.
So thank you. Oh, sorry, there's one more question I have for Ilana just before I let you go.
Okay.
How important is a business plan when you're looking at tenders and funding specifically?
Okay, Brent, so in terms of the business plans, I know there's a lot of different opinions on business plans, but I think it's a very important part of any business. Specifically for planning purposes, you need to know what you are getting into. You need to know who's your demographic, what is the area where you're going to have your business running. So it's a little bit about the planning and seeing all the things that you need to have in place for your business to be successful. Then specifically in terms of market knowledge, also seeing who's your competitors out there, what do you need to know in terms of the requirements, do you need special licenses, all those type of things. So that will also be indicated in your business plan. And especially if you do go for tenders and funding, they want to see that you've done your homework. They want to see that you've actually invested a bit of time to make this as successful as possible. Then the other things that they usually look at is communication, and then the last thing would be the financial projections. So on that, they will have to see, did you make provision for small things in the business? Did you do a financial layout of what you might require? Because based on that, they will know you have done your homework to see, do I need certain tools or equipment or make provision for what I need within my business?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. It sounds like a business plan is quite important.
Definitely.
As the quote goes, those who fail to plan, plan to fail.
Something like that.
So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Fantastic. So thank you, Lana, for your time and sharing with us the importance of registering and getting the basic compliance in place before tendering or applying for funding.
Thank you, Brent, and thank you for the opportunity to join you guys today.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So if you can just go to the next slide. So basically, now that the compliance is in place, we have to move over to the empowerment phase of your business, and that is getting access to the tender leads. So for that, we're going to have another specialist here, Paul Hills. You can step in, Paul. You can just sit a bit closer so the guys can see you. Maybe
everybody.
Fantastic. Can you quickly introduce yourself, Paul, to the viewers out there?
Sure. My name is Paul Hills. I manage the Tradeworld Leads and Tender Service, which is part of SAP Ariba. I've been in the business for 26 odd years. Started in the early days where we used to print a little bulletin called the Mills Daily Tender, and then at a system called Fax of Tender Bulletin, and the fax machines came out, and to what we have today with internet and email and a fantastic website. So been around for a while and enjoying it.
Yeah, fantastic. Between you and Ilana, there's already a lot of years. I'm not going to do the math now. I wasn't very good at math, but there's a lot of years of experience when it comes to these important services in South Africa. So basically, this is the second topic for this morning. It will be the tender leads notification and how to stay updated with new available tenders. So we're going to go over to the first part of this interview, which is one of the main questions actually in the market today, and that is, how do I get access to tender leads?
Okay, so tenders are available publicly. Anybody can post tender, be it a private entity or a mine or a consultant, through a platform such as a newspaper or a website, a gazette or a portal. But tenders are predominantly published by public sector obviously following the procurement policy and supply chain. So I would say probably 98, 99% of the tenders that we source are public sector, which will be national, provincial, local government, and then your parastatals such as your Transnet, your Eskom, etc., SA, post office, that type of thing.
Fantastic. And do you source these on websites and newspapers, gazettes, etc.?
Yes, so there is a slide a little further on which will explain exactly where we get it from.
Okay.
But yes, there's over 1,000 different sources that we cover on a daily basis.
Fantastic, fantastic. You mentioned now RFQs, and I'm sure that in the market there's not a lot of people familiar with RFQs. What is the difference between a tender and an RFQ?
Okay, so tender, or sometimes also referred to as a bid, is a formal tender, which is normally, depends on the size of the entity, but if I can give you an example, the Western Cape Provincial Government, as an example, they can go up to 500,000 Rand, or $500,000, on a request for quote, or RFQ. Other entities, smaller entities, municipalities, it might be 250,000 Rand. After which they then have to publish a formal tender or bid. The RFQs would normally appear on a website, whereas the formal tenders and bids would go through a mainstream newspaper or the government e-portal, or the state tender bulletin or gazette.
Interesting. So basically then, let me just go back to this section here. So when you see a tender which you qualify for, what compliance documents are then most important to have in place?
Yeah, so Lana touched on I think most of those documents. The most important is obviously your tax clearance certificate. It's a document that expires every 12 months, so it's critical that it's a valid tax clearance certificate and not an expired certificate. And then you've got your affidavits and your B certificate, which again expire every 12 months, so you must be sure that they are valid. Different departments also require different documents. If I can give you an example, the Nelson Mandela Metro, for instance, they require a rating clearance certificate. So that's a certificate to show that you're not arrears in your rates and taxes. And even your speeding fines, if you haven't paid your speeding fines, then you can't get that clearance certificate. So it depends on the entity, but the affidavit and the B certificate, the tax clearance certificate would be your most important one.
Fantastic. That's quite interesting with the speeding fines. I didn't know that.
It's a good way to collect arrears.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So now basically the next question would be, how do you have access to all the latest tenders every day coming out?
So as I mentioned, they're all freely available through over 1,000 sources. So you're welcome to go and trawl all those different websites and newspapers. But I think, if you're serious about tendering, then you need to look at a service provider to do that for you. Doing it yourself, it's a bit of a hit and miss, and you'll probably cover a few % of the tenders available. Some of the portals and websites are also very difficult to navigate, and the tenders and RFQs are hosted all over the place and in different times and dates. So yeah, look at a service provider, get the information directly from them, profile to your business needs, your geographical area on a daily basis, and you're not wasting time sourcing for tenders, but spending time completing tenders. So that would be my advice.
No, for sure. I think if you are serious about tendering, it's much better to use specialists in the industry.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So again, just to add to the service that we as company partners and TradeWorld offer, we can assist you with sourcing these tender leads on a daily basis. But you are free out there to go and apply for your own tenders and also look for your own tenders. It's not necessary. If you don't want to do it through us, that's fine. Thank you, Paul, for your time. I do appreciate it, and thank you for the insight on staying up to date with tenders.
Thank you, Brent, and I hope the information was useful.
Fantastic.
Great.
So the next section of the webinar will be on tendering successfully. So far we've covered the compliance that needs to be in place when you want to apply for a tender. Now we've covered how to stay up to date with tenders on a daily basis. And the next step then will be, how do you actually tender successfully when there is a tender that you are interested in as well as a tender you qualified for? For that, we're going to have Tsitsi Kinnear, who will be assisting and also give us her specialized knowledge regarding the tender process. Morning, Tsitsi, how are you this morning?
Well, thank you. How are you today?
Fantastic. I just wanted to see that you're in the screen there. You can maybe just go a bit back. Yeah, fantastic that the guys can see you. So can you just quickly introduce yourself to the viewers out there?
As said, my name is Tsitsi Kinnear. I am a qualified attorney as well as the head of the BEE Tender Licensing Department in the company department.
Fantastic. All right. And how long have you been an attorney?
I've been an attorney for about 3 years.
Okay, great stuff. So this section will deal with how do you tender successfully when after you see a tender that you're interested in as well as a tender you qualified for. After viewing that tender that one is interested in, how do you apply then for a RFQ or for this tender?
Well, basically, it is a 3-step process. First step is having your supporting documentation. The second step is attending the briefing session. And the third step is the actual application or submitting of your tender document.
Okay.
So, with the first step, which is the
Sorry, Tsitsi, can I just stop you there? Can you just speak a bit louder? I think that some of the guys can't hear.
Excuse me, I'm a bit. With the first step, which is the supporting documentation, there are some compulsory prerequisite documents.
Okay.
These include the company registration documentation, the BEE certificate, or EME or QSE affidavit, a valid one, as well as tax clearance certificate. These are mandatory and compulsory. You cannot apply for a tender without these documents in place. Secondly, depending on the tender itself, there are certain documentation which will also be required as a company supporting document. These can be the certified copies of the ID of the directors, company profile, audited financial statements, proof of your registration with your industry regulator. This, for example, is if you are in the security industry, you would need to be registered with CIRA, as well as proof of attendance to the briefing session, which I will explain a bit more with the next step.
Fantastic.
So, step 2.
Yes, we're going to have step 2. So that was step 1, just for everyone out there. That's all getting all the compliance and the documents in place for the tender.
So, step 2 would be attending the briefing session for the tender. Certain tenders do have briefing sessions. Most of these briefing sessions are compulsory, so you must be there. They're very important due to the fact that there's an attendance register which you'll need to fill out and then accompany with your tender. Failure to do such will make your tender unsuccessful. Another reason why these briefing sessions are important is that you can ask questions as well as further information might be provided which might not necessarily be in the actual advertisement. Your next step would be preparing the tender application. Make sure that you fully prepare the tender application as required by the buyer offering the tender, then submission.
Okay, fantastic. And then, so when the correct documents are in place, how do you submit the tender documents to the right department then?
Well, with tendering in South Africa, it needs to happen physically. So you need to physically have the tender document itself. I recommend that you would submit it to the correct department as well as place it in the correct tender box. This is because certain departments have various tenders and multiple boxes. So you as a person who is applying for the tender has to make sure that you have it in the correct box with the correct department and at the correct time. Thus, if the tender is supposed to be submitted on Friday at 11 o'clock, it should be given in before 10:59 on Friday.
Understand, yeah.
Furthermore, if you are not successful in your tender once you receive a response, then you can legally apply for reasons as to why your tender wasn't successful. Then what you can do is you can learn from your shortcomings with your next tender application.
Fantastic. That makes a lot of sense. Great stuff. So that covers the section of how do you tender successfully. Again, we do assist in this service as company partners. We've got the special offer, which I will elaborate on after the interviews are conducted. I see we just had out there again. Okay, just a bit of technical issues. Thank you, Tsitsi, for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right. Can you guys still hear me? If I can just get an indication there, fantastic. All right, so we've got Karen now on the line all the way from Durban. Karen is from the FinFind partner of company partners. So I just want to quickly sum up what we've discussed so far is how to get the right compliance in place. Secondly, it was how do you stay updated with tenders in South Africa. Casey just shared her knowledge on tendering successfully. And lastly, now we're going to go over to how do you receive funding for your business after you tendered successfully. For that, we do have Karen on the line, as I just said earlier. Morning, Karen. How are you?
Morning, Brett. I'm doing very well, and yourself?
Fantastic, thank you. Can you quickly introduce yourself to us and to the viewers out there?
Yes, I'm from FinFind and work with operations at FinFind. FinFind is sponsored by government, and we partner with CEDA and with company partners. And we've been funding institutions or linking entrepreneurs and institutions for the last 3 years.
Fantastic. That sounds exciting, especially to the viewers out there looking for funding today. Karen, when it comes to funding, after you have tendered successfully, why in the first place is funding important?
You know, Brent, it's very important for majority of small businesses because they have to have cash flow in order to execute the contract. The size of the tender, the sector also impacts heavily on whether the funding for the SMEs will be a deal breaker. Some of the challenges, as I said, they could experience is cash flow. They have to have cash flow in order to complete the contract and then wait the payment because payments is going to be delayed. Often they've got milestones that they've got to meet with these in order to get payment. So if they don't meet the payment, the milestones, payment can be delayed. So they have things like the government processes for payment, quality control measures are in place, levels of reporting that they have to complete before they will be paid out. So these are all key factors they're going to take into account for payment. So what it means is that for many small businesses, they not only have to have funds to do the work, they also have to be able to keep their business going for up to 90 days, if not more, once the work is completed.
Sure, that's quite interesting. So basically that answers the question why funding is important. The next question is, when do I apply for funding?
You can apply for the upfront and then try and get funding, but to apply for funding is a very time-consuming process. So what we suggest is that apply for funding prior to applying for the tender. You can often get pre-approval from a lender to say, I'm applying for this tender, would you approve me financially? And you can submit those documents together with your tender documents so that your tender company can see that you will have the resources necessary to carry out the tender. They also want to see that you are able to repay the loan, the lender. So that you have to have a plan in place which shows what you have, how you're going to repay it, what you have in place to do that in this case. And the key factor is that of that, if you look at the next slide, will be your experience and your skills to complete the tender. Do you have the experience and the skills? If you don't have the experience in-house, you can always subcontract to somebody who can assist you, and then you submit their CV to show that you have the skills to complete the job. And then, of course, a plan showing your profit margins and how you're going to repay the loan, and that you will be charged a fee, and it usually includes an admin fee on money and interest in the money that you borrow. The other thing that you're going to need is your written confirmation for your tender. This is important. It's also easier to apply if you do have your written confirmation for the tender. So they'll need that in place. And then another thing would be that you have alternate arrangements in place to pay back the loan, or alternatively to complete the job should you not have things come to have could hinder the process. You need to have alternate arrangements. Now, to get all of this together is quite daunting. People go, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? But obviously they can contact you at Company Partners to assist them and guide them through this whole process.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you, Karen, for sharing us the knowledge of funding and also for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Ren.
Fantastic. Karen, you can just quickly put your mic on mute. Thank you. Okay, so that was Karen from FinFind sharing more information regarding the funding process. So just again to add to this, you are welcome to go to the bank yourself or to private investors to get the funding for your business. For those who is interested in getting assistance from Company Partners, I will now be going over to the second part, which is the special offer that Company Partners has in place for everyone tuned in today. So basically, we're on the right slide. I just want to give the people the right information. So we at Company Partners have a service, the BEE Tender License Service. Now this service, I think personally, is a great service to the public out there when it comes to tenders and getting your business going in the right direction when you want to apply for funding and tendering. So this BEE Tender License Service includes the following: a free BEE affidavit that is valid for 1 year, access to SA's largest amount of tender leads notifications, which is what Paul talked about earlier in his interview. So you have access to all the tenders in South Africa every day through this service, which is fantastic. I mean, just to think that TradeWorld last year sourced over 70,000 tenders to the public in South Africa, and this year it looks like they're actually going way past that amount. So it really does pay off to use specialists in this area. You also have access to SA's largest amount of funding opportunities through FinFind, which Karen spoke about just now. They are financing over 300 companies already in South Africa when it comes to funding for their business and actually tendering successfully. So the success rates of these two partners are exceptional and can add value to you as well if you decide to go through with the service at Company Partners. It also gives you access to monthly tender support. So that is where Tsitsi Kania comes in, that spoke about tendering successfully. When you have this service at Company Partners, you get access to monthly support from Tsitsi. It will be an hour consultation every month. You get a free tender manual included as well. And then last but not least, actually one of the most important parts of this service is that we assist you with your first tender application in South Africa. So for the first tender that you apply for with this service, you basically get assistance with that application. That is huge. That is huge. I see we lost the slides there. Is the slides not going on? Okay, there it is. I'm going to upload that quickly again. Okay. Okay, so just to repeat that last part again, for if the webinar cut out there, basically the first tender that you see that you apply for, we will assist you with that tender. That is included in this BEE tender license service. So this is a special offer for you specifically tuned into to today's webinar to actually make the information and the knowledge we shared this morning practical for you, that you can apply it in your life and in your business. So this special offer for the webinar is only until the 15th of May, which is, if I'm correct, in 5 working days. What day will that be? I just want to double check that just to give you a day as well. That is next week Monday. So you have until next week Monday to go through with this service. It's only 5 working days that it will be applicable. The once-off registration cost is 490 Rand. That is VAT included. And then after the once-off registration cost, the first month will be a debit order. Now this service stretches over for 12 months. So it will be a 12-month commitment from your side, where it will be a debit order per month, 490 Rand that will be subtracted. I just quickly want to touch on what the service includes again. It includes a free B affidavit. It includes access to SA's largest tender lease notification service in the partner of company partners, which is TradeWorld. It includes access to SA's largest amount of funding opportunities, which is FinFind, that is through Karen. It includes access to monthly tender support, that is an hour consultation with Tsitsi Kinnear. It includes a free tender manual. Now this tender manual is a fantastic document. It goes in depth with business strategizing to get your tender done successfully and to implement it and execute it successfully. That is a fantastic add-on that we are throwing into the service. And then lastly, with your first tender that you are applying for, you get assistance from Tsitsi and help with the first application. That is for the first year only, and then this includes a 12-month commitment from your side where 490 Rand monthly debit orders will go down. So from our side as well, we want to assist the people who's really serious about tendering in South Africa, and we can do this where if you get a successful tender within the first year of this service through company partners, we will actually be giving you a full refund of this amount that you paid over the 12 months. So if you can send us proof after the first year that you tendered successfully and that you used our system to get this done, you're going to receive a full refund, and it's going to save you up an amount of 6,000 Rand that you can save if you are tendering successfully. So we do want to assist the people in South Africa and help you to tender successfully, that you can change the economy of the country completely. So I think that is a fantastic offer. Just personally from my side, if I was serious about tendering, I would go for this definitely. Okay, fantastic. If you are interested in this offer, you can contact me on my email address, which is brent@companypartners.co.za, or you can call our toll-free landline. Or I see rather email, that's a better option. Then you will get to me. When you email me, when you are interested in this special offer, and you send me an email, include the code, which is tender1. If Liam can just go to that tender1 code, just include that in the email, then I know that you want to continue with this service. I can place an order for you, and you will be then transferred through to the consultant that will assist you. So email me, brent@companypartners.co.za, for this special offer. Fantastic. All right, so I just want to give you guys a last word of encouragement. We're first going to go to the questions and answers section. Is there any questions out there that you guys still have regarding this process that was not answered during this webinar? You guys can go to the chat box down below. I just want to see, I can't see the chat box now. I just want to quickly okay.
This question was, if the director and shareholder are the same person, is that fine, or do they still need a share certificate?
Yes, you do still need a share certificate when it is the same person. It still comes down to the bank that wants legal proof of who is the owner of this company. So that is very important, as well as the fact that when you want to reallocate shares to a shareholder, maybe let's give an example down the line. a year after you started your company, you want to bring in another shareholder into the business, then you need to transfer shares to make this a legal process. And to transfer those shares, you need proof of the shares, what do you call it, database from the start of the company. So it is important to get a share certificate either way. If you're the same person as the director or not, it is important to get a share certificate when you register your company.
Second question, regarding MPC, does Company Partners assist with all the documents to get it up and running?
Regarding an NPC, we do send you a list of requirements that we need to register NPC, so that's going to go out via email to you guys. Then when you get that documentation ready, you send it through to our offices. All the information and the contact people will be in that email. Then you send it through to our offices, and then we compose the documents and submit it to CIPC on your behalf.
Next question. Is it important to have VAT for tendering?
It is important to have VAT for tendering. In most cases, you will see that this is the additional requirements that we spoke about earlier that you need to be sure of when you tender. So when you apply for that tender, they will give you a list of documents that's mandatory for that, or actually to tender successfully. And that will indicate if you require a VAT registration for your company or not. But in most of the cases, I would assume that a VAT number is quite important when tendering. Yeah, I just want to check, Paul, is that correct?
That's advisable.
That's advisable. Okay, so the VAT registration is advisable when tendering.
Next question. I would like to know if I want to start an internet cafe, what I should do.
Okay, to start it. Yeah, the first thing then is to register your company.
Technical error.
I'll get back to that, yeah.
What is EME, QSE, WCBD?
For that, I'm going to get in Paul, just to quickly give us an update on that.
Hi, Brent.
Yes,
okay,
so welcome again, Paul.
Your original EME, it's an emerging micro enterprise, and then your QSE is your qualifying enterprise, can't remember what it is. And then your WCBD is your form that you must submit with that for your preference claim. The question was it around the WCBD form as well. That is a requirement for Western Cape government, which outlines any declaration of interest, so the interest that you have perhaps in other companies, etc.
Okay, fantastic.
Right.
I hope that answers the question there.
Are tenders essentially, for tender loans, is it essentially given to companies and institutions ahead of individuals?
Karen, can you just answer that question for us, please?
Can you hear me, Brent?
I can hear you, yeah. Can you just quickly touch on that question?
Couldn't hear the question. Could you repeat it, please? Can you repeat the
Those
question?
essentially given to companies ahead of individuals?
Sorry, Brent, I'm struggling to hear him.
No problem, I'm going to repeat that for you. Is loans or funding given to private companies before it's given to individuals?
In a case like that, Brent, obviously you have to be a registered business. You cannot get business finance unless you are a registered business. So yes, it will, and technically it will be given to a private company. You can't apply for funding on a personal basis to try and apply for funding. You'd have to be registered.
Okay, understand. Fantastic. So in essence, it's better to say it's safer to register a company than to go individually into the venture.
That's correct, because then you apply, here in this case you're applying for business funding. So if you're not a registered business, you won't be able to get funding from any of the lenders on FinFund database.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Where do I get the WCBD 6.1 forms for tenders?
Paul, can you just quickly step in again? Okay, you guys can send me an email for that specific form, and then I will get that out to you guys.
Many clients ask, is there a better way of getting this presentation after this?
So what I'm going to do is I can send you guys the slides, as well as I can send you, I'm going to see if it's possible to send you a link for the recording as well. Unfortunately, there's no better notes. You guys will have to, just take the notes and the recording as it is, and then if there's any questions that you guys do have, you can email me and I'll give you the answers for that.
Do documents need to be certified for all tenders?
Yes, that will be the safer option, because then you know that it's certified and that it will be accepted by the department or the institute where you are tendering at.
Is the WCBD form for tenders also known as the SBD?
No.
Not sure.
Not that we're aware of, so I'm going to go with no.
Is it possible to get a tender without a company profile?
It is possible, yeah. I would just add in the company profile as well, as it gives a quick, short, basic description of your company and the history of your company, which can be a handy add-on when applying for tenders, but not mandatory. A company profile is not mandatory. Again, that's where certain tenders, where they specify which documents are mandatory, you need to make sure that you've got the right documentation. In some cases, however, there is going to be institutes and companies that's going to ask for the company profile. That will be mandatory then, but for the guys that doesn't ask for the company profile, it will not be mandatory.
Is there any legal obligations or debts that one would need to occur when being granted a tender?
No.
Right. What level do you qualify for a BE certificate? Okay,
so the BE levels remain the same. When you are 100% black holding shareholders in the company, it will be a level 1 for the BE. Level 2 will be from 51% to 99% black ownership shares in the company. That's a level 2. And level 4 will be under 51% shares are black owned. That's a level 4.
How do we apply for funding if we are struggling in this area?
So basically, you can make use of the tender, the BE tender license from company partners. We assist you with the funding. You can also go to a private institute to assist you with the funding, or banks. They can help you as well. Does that answer the question? Okay.
If you're a startup, can you still qualify for funding resources?
You need all your compliance in place, and you also need proof of the tender. So you need to get the compliance in place. First of all, you need to be aware of tenders. You need to tender successfully, and then you can take that tender as proof to the lender or the funder, the private funder, that you will receive business into the company, and that he will receive his money or his loan back. That will be the best way to apply for funding if you're a new startup company.
How can I register my company? What's my options?
Your options is to go directly to CIPC and create an account for you, where you need to follow the steps that the CIPC website provides. Alternatively, company partners do offer this service. It costs 990 Rand, and it takes give or take 7 working days, depending on how quick CIPC processes the documents. Now, what will happen here is we will send you the list of requirements needed for the company registration. We will go through the steps, that is to register your name, to send your company application to CIPC, and to send you the end result, which is the 14.3 registration certificate. This, as I said, is 990 Rand for the service, as well as it takes 7 working days to register your company. This is the alternative option you have. And I just want to add, that is not, this extra additional service is not included in the BEE tender license service that I spoke of earlier.
Do you have a template for the documents required for funding?
We can, I can ask Karen to send out a template, so that should be possible.
Is it possible to get funding if you are blacklisted or under debt review administration?
We're going to get Karen on the line again for that question. Karen, can you just quickly assist us with that question?
Brent, okay, what is the question again? Sorry, I'm battling to hear the other guy.
The question is, when you are blacklisted or if you have debt, can you apply for funding and will it be successful?
If you have a signed tender, yes, you will be able to apply, because your tender document will be your guaranteed of your funding. And then just going back to the previous question about the documents, if they go onto your website and complete the questionnaire, it will request a list of documents they'll need. It will show them what documents they need to have in order to be shown the funders. So there will be a list of documents on the website.
Fantastic. So that will be the template required for funding. Okay, great. I understand. So if you guys are interested in the tender, or actually the funding template that you need for funding, you can email me and I can just show you the link on the company partners website that will produce that list of documents required.
More questions, answers, you will email everything to them.
Okay, so guys, for more questions, if you have more questions, you can send me an email. You've got my email address now. Then I will address those questions and assist you with that. Also, the other unanswered questions I will also get back to, which seems quite a lot. I just want to get back to that internet cafe. So basically, first of all, you need to register your company, you need to get your basic compliance in place, and then I would recommend that you look for funding as well as a way to start your internet cafe. I'm not sure what you were asked that, but that will be my answer for that. Then just to continue, just to close this webinar of today, I want to encourage everyone tuned in today to start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can today. As I said earlier, the reality of life is that no one is planning anything out there for anybody. So you need to take action today, and you need to work and create your future going forward here in South Africa specifically. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. It was a privilege to host this webinar. I want to thank all the partners that joined into this webinar. It was fantastic. I will also email the slides to you guys, as well as I will send a link to the presentation that you guys can review this webinar, and then also any questions and answers. As I said, you can email me and I'll also get back to you with the questions here on this webinar. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.